Hey guys, so for math we're going to go over some review of what we did the week before spring break. So first I want to talk about measurement. We had some vocabulary words that we sorted. It was on page 511. So if you want to flip back in your book so that you can review a little bit with me, you can. If not, we can just, I'll read it and we can talk about it. So we have the words, we have some number words, which were 9, 10, 11, and 12. But we had words that were long, short, longer, and shorter. Well, when we're talking about long and short, we're talking about the length or the size of something, how long it is. So if we have the word short, the word short would mean it's not very big. It's pretty small. If we have the word long, that would mean it's pretty big. It's got a lot of length. So if I drew lines, right, can you see this? If I draw lines, we have a short one and we have a long one, right? Then we also have words that say shorter and longer. When we use these words, that means we're going to compare, or we're going to think about how two lines, or maybe more than two lines, might be alike or different. So if we're comparing these, saying how they might be the same or how they might be different, and I use the words longer and shorter, which one of these lines is shorter? This one, right? This one is short compared to this one, which is long. Which one of these is longer? Yeah, this one. Because when we look at these two lengths, or how long they are, this one has more length. It is longer. It says, down on the next part, it says, a crayon is blank than a marker. Well, let's think. If we have a crayon and a marker, this is how big a marker is, and I don't have a crayon right here. But let's say a crayon is like this. So the crayon would be shorter than the marker. A toothbrush is blank than a paperclip. So we have a toothbrush, which I don't have one right here. But then we have a paperclip. So a toothbrush would be longer than a paperclip. It's bigger than it. It's got more length. I want to do a couple more of these that we can talk about, and then I want to talk about measuring using non-standard measurement. So if I have these two lines, excuse me, I kind of have hiccups this morning. Let's look at these two lines. Which one's longer? This one or this one? Yeah, this one. What if I draw another one? Now which one's longer? Got a shadow on the board. Now which one's longer? Yeah, this one. If we have something like we had in our work before spring break, and I know that that's been a while, we had some activities that said something like, well, first, we had something that said the green line is the shortest, the purple line is the longest, and then it said, what would our black line look like? Well, if this one's the shortest, this is as small as it'll be, this one's the longest, this is as big as it's going to be, what would the black line look like? It would have to be bigger than this one and smaller than this one. So it would look something like this. Anything that's shorter than this and longer than this. If we had something that said, put our lines in order from shortest to longest, that means we're going to put them in order, and the shortest one would go first. Oops, this one doesn't work. So the lines would look like this. So we have the short one, and then the middle one, and then the longest one. Or if it said it the other way and said put them in order from longest to shortest, which one's going to come first? The longest one, the biggest one, is going to come first, and then the middle one, and then the shortest, because these are in order. We also had something where it gave us hints, but it didn't tell us exactly which one was going to be which. So let me read one of these. So here's one that says, I'm going to write the words we have. Actually, I'm going to do my colors. So we have a black pencil, a green pencil, and a purple pencil. And in our book, this is on page 520 if you want to go and follow along as I do it. It gave us clues, and it wanted us to write shorter or longer to complete the answer. It says a green pencil is longer than an orange pencil, so we're going to do purple. A green pencil is longer than a purple pencil. Okay, but we don't know how long the purple one is, so we don't know how big the green one needs to be. Then it says the orange pencil is longer than a brown pencil. So if the orange one is longer than the brown one, and the purple one, oh, I keep saying orange. If the purple pencil is longer than the black pencil, and the green one is longer than the purple, which one's going to be longest? The green one has to be the longest because this one is longer than this one, but this one is longer than this one, which means this one is longer than both of these. So if I draw this in, the green pencil is longer than the orange pencil. So this is going to be longer than this. So I can draw in this line. And this line can be any size, except it has to be long enough that this one can be shorter. So if I draw this line like this, that doesn't really work because I can't make this line shorter than this. It's kind of hard because it's too little. So now I can do this because if we look back at our clues, the green pencil is longer than the purple pencil. The purple pencil is longer than the black pencil. So then it says, so the green pencil is blank than the black pencil. Well, let's look. The green pencil is longer than the black pencil. And we did those before spring break. That was part of some of our assignments. And then we had something that talked about non-standard measurement. What does that mean? If I measure something, I get a ruler or a tape measure or something like that. But let's say I don't have that. But I want to know, let me erase these. I lost my rag. I have a few things, household things that you guys might have to help me measure. I have Q-tips, I have popsicle sticks, and I have some paper clips. So let's say I want to know how long this line is. Well, let's think about it. I can do paper clips, but if I do them, you see how they're touching end to end to end? If I have a paper clip here and then I put another one over here, that doesn't really work because it's not showing me how many paper clips it takes because there's way too much space in there for me to actually know. Because if I have one here and one here, well, that only has 2, but if I have them end to end to end, I might have 7 of them. Does that make sense? So when you line them up, they have to be touching on their ends so that you're really showing how many there are. There's no spaces in between. So I want to measure this line. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Q-tips to measure it. So if I line up my, can you see that line? My marker's not very good today. If I line up my Q-tips to my line, and I did them on a piece of paper so you can see them on the whiteboard. My line is about 3 Q-tips long. Now let's do a line that looks like, let me get a different marker, that looks like this. My line is about maybe 1.5 Q-tips if I cut one in half, or if I use something smaller, my line is about 4 paper clips long. So that's how we do non-standard measurement. We use objects to measure something, and it doesn't give us an exact measurement as if we said this is 10 feet long or this is 2 inches long. This gives us non-standard measurement where we're using things that don't actually give us numbers, but we can use them to figure it out. So if I want to figure out how long this marker is, and I line it up on my Q-tips, it's almost 2 Q-tips long. Or if I line it up here, if I had one more paper clip, it'd be 5 paper clips long. So for some of the activities you're going to do later this week, we're going to have you measure with some of your household stuff, and it can be popsicle sticks or paper clips or Q-tips or Legos or anything you have at your house that you can help measure with. If I do, what's something else I can measure? If I do this notebook, I'm going to stand it up right beside my paper clips. If I had another paper clip, it'd be about 5 paper clips tall. If I do my popsicle sticks, it's just a little bit more than one popsicle stick tall. Or if I use my Q-tips, it's about 1 whole Q-tip and then just about half of another one. So that's some ways that we can do non-standard measurement, or measurement that's not really normal. It's not using real numbers or real units to measure, it's using things that we have at home. So that's some other things we're going to be doing later on this week, so I wanted to review that. I also want to review time. I know that we talked about that before spring break, but that's been a while. And whenever we do daily routines, we usually don't have time for time, as one of the students had said, which was a really good joke. So I'm going to go over it again. So with time, there's usually 3 hands on the clock, but we're going to do the 2 main ones. There's usually a second hand, the one that goes by really, really fast. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It moves the fastest. We have on this clock the minute hand, and it's longer. And then we have the hour hand. So if we have the minute and the hour hand, which one is going to move faster? Let's look. The minute hand is going to move faster because when that second hand that I just talked about goes all the way around the clock once, and it goes pretty fast, this is going to move 1 time. So it goes by pretty quickly. There's 60 minutes. All these little blue dots mean 1 minute. So there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So this minute hand has to go all the way around 1 time for this little hand to move to one of the red numbers. So we have an hour, which is 60 minutes. A minute is 60 seconds. And then if we have a half hour, if this goes all the way around to here and only goes halfway around the clock, that's half an hour, which is 30 minutes. Because if we count the blue dots, the minutes that go by, there's 30 of them. So if we look at this, this is a better showing of it. Half of the clock is 30 minutes because the whole hour is 60 minutes. So if it only goes around halfway, it goes around 30 minutes. And if you look, I have my blue numbers, which are my hours, but then I have these orange numbers up here. What do you think those are? Those are the minutes. So between each of these blue numbers, it's 5 minutes. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 30 minutes in half an hour. And then you can see 1 whole hour is the whole clock, or the whole plate, and it's 60 minutes. So I'm going to show, actually I want us to do a couple practice. So I've made my clock, and it's the same as the ones that I was just showing you on my plates. And I'm going to draw some times on here, some of the minute and hour hands, and I want to see if we can figure it out. So when this hour hand is pointing at a number, that's the number we're going to say. So we're going to say it's 3 o'clock, because this is up here on the 0, meaning there's not any minutes past 3. So we have 3 o'clock, because this hour hand is telling us what hour it is. This time, let's look at it. What's the hour hand pointing at? The 6. So what time is it? It's 6 o'clock because it's no minutes. This is the minute hand. It's not been any minutes. 0 minutes past 6. So it's 6 o'clock. What if I do this? What's the hour hand, the shorter hand, pointing to? Yeah, the 10, so it would be 10 o'clock. I want us to do something to because we didn't do this before spring break, but this is going to be on some of our assignments this week. And it has in our book something you'll do, I think on Tuesday is what, yeah, it's on Tuesday's work. It gives you the hour hand, but it does not give you the minute hand. But it still wants you to figure out what time it is. So if my hour hand's here, but it didn't give me a minute hand, it just wants you to say that there's no minutes past this hour. So let's look first at this one. What is the hour hand pointing at? At the 7. So there's no minutes past the 7, which means it's what time? 7 o'clock. And that's what it's going to want you to write. And when you write that, if I write the time and I want to say it's 7 o'clock, I'm going to do a 7, because that's my hour, and I'm going to do 2 dots. And if you have a clock, you've probably seen, not a clock like this clock, but like the clock on your phone or on your computer or iPad. It's got the dots, and then these are going to be the minutes. So if it's 7 o'clock and there's no minutes past that 7, it's going to be 0, 0. So that's how we would write 7 o'clock. What if I want to write 3 o'clock? Well, when it's o'clock, that means 0 minutes have passed. So the zeros are going to be here, and I'm going to have my 3, because that's what hour it is. So if I look at this one down here, what's the hour hand pointing at? At the 2. And then there's been no minutes past the 2. So how would I write my time? Here's my dots. So what goes here? My hour is going to come first, so I would write 2. And then it's been 0 minutes, so I'm going to write my zeros. So that's what the book has for us, and that will come the more we work on it. I know we didn't get to do a lot of time on time, but that's how we would write our time. And the time is written the same whether it's morning or evening. So if it's 2 in the morning, when you guys should definitely be asleep, it's written like this. But if it's 2 in the afternoon, like when we would start packing up to go home, it's written like this. It's written the same way, even if it's morning or night. So that's some of the stuff we're going to work on this week. I wanted to review because it's kind of been a long time since we talked about it last, because we had that whole week for spring break. So it doesn't give us the minute hand, but we can just know that when it gives us the hour, it wants us to say there's been no minutes. So it wants just time to the hour. So that's our skill we're going to be working on. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you're staying healthy. Keep those hands washed. I miss you all. Bye.